I have all plastic surgery topics today. There was a lot going on in the plastic surgery world. Hope you guys are ready.
No crazy death stories, though.
I do have a kind of crazy story.
Oh.
Have you guys ever heard of Goals plastic surgery?
Golds?
Goals, like G-O-A-L-S, Goals.
No.
I saw several articles about Goals plastic surgery, which is a chain, plastic surgery chain. So it's like the plastic surgery patient mills, which I always called them. And this was like all over the news. And these guys are under fire. Like this Goals place is getting kind of like beat down from a couple directions, because I saw different articles like talking about it in different ways, like all in a row. So Goals is a plastic surgery chain. And if you guys have not watched a lot of my videos, I do not like plastic surgery chains. And at the end, I'll tell you why I don't like them. I don't like plastic surgery chains. And basically what that means, a plastic surgery chain is a business that markets to plastic surgery patients without the doctor necessarily being really involved. They'll say, come in, you get this really cheap plastic surgery and you'll get treated by one of our great doctors, but you're going to the facility, not the doctor. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of problems with that, in my opinion. So Goals is a plastic surgery chain. They got a dozen clinics in the states of Alabama, California, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And the first thing I saw was actually an article about the Better Business Bureau, and I clipped that one, throw it up there. Yeah, Better Business Bureau warns of complaints against plastic surgery clinic, and its Goals is the one that they're talking about. They got so many complaints about them that they gave them their worst rating, which is an F, I guess, for failure. Or I guess I think Better Business Bureau goes up to like AA+ or something. So there's a lot of ratings in there. Well, they gave them a rating of F due to the fact they got so many complaints. And then they asked them to like respond to stuff, and apparently they didn't. And the next thing I saw was this article from 2022 in the Marie Claire. I think I got a pic of that one. Yeah, they called this place a little shop of horrors. Ew. That is not good, man. Like if you like have like a medical practice and they call it the little shop of horrors, that is not good. And so that article went into a lot of detail about numerous like alleged bad outcomes. Well, and there were deaths in there too. So, I mean, those are not necessarily alleged. Those did happen from their surgeons, and there was like, doctors being inappropriate, and there were allegations of sexual misconduct. And it went into a lot of detail about this place. And the most shocking thing that I found, because I don't like these places, but this one really kind of shocked me. So this Goals was started by a Dr. Sergey Voskin, all right, who actually started it was doing plastic surgery procedures. You guys want to guess what kind of doctor this is? Like what his training was?
General
surgery? I wish. Travis, any idea?
A foot doctor.
Yeah, that's about where we're at. So he was a pediatrician.
Ew.
Not like a pediatric surgeon. Not a pediatric surgeon.
A pediatrician.
Like your pediatrician that you take Avery to would be like if that person opened up a plastic surgery clinic. Yes, I was pretty like stupefied when I learned that. I mean, that's craziness. I mean, I get kind of, I get miffed when other surgeons do plastic surgery because they don't have the training for it. It'd be like if I wanted to do, ear, nose, and throat surgery. I'm not trained for that. It would be, not good for me to do it. But this is a non-surgeon who opened a surgery practice and then, got enough patients that he opened more. And he also continued to hire non-plastic surgeons to do the surgeries, which I'm totally against that. Plastic surgeons we train for at least 6, if not 7. I did 8 years of surgical training to do what I do, and then board certification, to have like non-surgeons doing these surgeries.
Well, it's I feel like when you go to a plastic surgeon, like a real one like yourself, it's like you pay for like,
I mean, you're paying.
You pay for it to look like you didn't have surgery. And I feel like if you go to a surgeon, they're just like, yep, let me just
let me just kind of do something here. Yeah, I mean, general surgery is very mechanic.
Let me do it the least, like let me do it the fastest, most efficient way, not like
right.
the
yeah,
best
exactly.
way.
Because there's a big difference between a general surgeon and a plastic surgeon. I mean, general surgery is very mechanical. Plastic surgery is very artistic, and it's just a completely different field. And, training in one does not mean that you can do the other. And so the story gets even crazier. So the most recent article that popped up about them, throw this next one up, I think it was from Independent. Yeah, Independent. And they actually quoted the Shop of Horrors from the previous article. So apparently what ended up happening was they had a office manager that basically became a whistleblower because she was so, I guess, appalled at all of the bad outcomes that she was seeing. She actually stole like a bunch of like medical records and like photos and everything, and then mass emailed them out to like 60 different media outlets. And so that's how like this.
I wonder how long she was working there. If
like
she
years.
just. Oh,
it was
dang.
years, yeah. And so I guess that's what brought up that 2022 article by what was it, Marie Claire. And now the reason it popped back up is because this place is suing her for $5 million, saying that it was
Like defamation or something.
yeah, defamation or trade secrets, I guess, that they gave away.
How is that a trade secret?
I don't know.
You're really
I
bad
mean-
at doing this? That's a trade secret.
I mean, the one way that I'd see that she could definitely get in trouble is she did probably violate HIPAA unless she blurred out people's names and yeah,
all that
names and like, even like but showing pictures even is violation of HIPAA without consent. Now maybe she picked one that gave consent to the play. I mean, I don't know why, because those people I'm sure were bad outcomes. I doubt they gave consent unless that was standard for them, signing their paperwork. Some plastic surgeons will insist that you consent to sharing photos, which I don't. I just ask people, and honestly, most people are pretty cool with it. But if they're not, it's like, oh, no big deal. I mean, we got plenty of people to show photos. But yeah, so this story is pretty wild. So like, there's apparently a ton of lawsuits against this
The whistleblower and
this Goals place.
and the goals place.
Well, yeah. So the Goals place is suing the plastic the old office manager, but there's apparently a lot of lawsuits against this Goals place that are ongoing right now, both malpractice and I guess some things like brewed up from like all this kind of bad press that they got. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd never heard of this place. Without knowing any more than what I just read in those articles, I mean, any plastic surgery facility started by a pediatrician, I would absolutely tell people to steer away from. I mean, that's just not good. And if you're hiring people that are also not trained to do this, I mean, it's not shocking that there's all these alleged bad outcomes. And there were some deaths in there.
Plastic surgery is like the Wild West sometimes, I feel like.
It's funny that you say that. Places like this
It's like still not controlled.
It's not, right? And places like this exist because of loopholes in the law. These people can't get privileges to do surgery in a surgery center, so they open up their own facility and they don't have to be regulated and this varies state by state, but the way they get around a lot of it is these facilities don't have to be regulated if they consider surgeries to be like minor procedures. Yeah. And so they basically state that things like tummy tuck and Brazilian butt lift are minor procedures, and they don't use anesthesia. That's why most of these places don't use any anesthesia, because they have to have it considered a minor procedure. Otherwise, they fall into the scope of needing to be regulated, and if they're regulated, they would lose their license. Mm-hmm. And so it's a law needs to fix this, because people are literally dying or getting gravely injured due to this legal loophole that exists in all of these states. And we talk time and time again about bad outcomes from these places. I mean, when I'm looking through the news, I'm always looking to see, if there's something notable in the plastic surgery world. And so when you hear these really bad stories, I mean, the majority of the time, it seems like it is in these places like this. Mm-hmm. So why does that happen? Well, there's very little regulation. They oftentimes will hire non-plastic surgeons to do the work because their gimmick is like very cheap plastic surgery. Well, how do they do that? Well, one, they don't use anesthesia, and they pay the surgeons like pennies on the dollar. Well, very few self-respecting plastic surgeons are going to agree to do that.
Yeah.
So it's either people who've had like trouble with the boards, because that one Marie, what was it, Marie? I keep forgetting the name. Marie Claire article talked about how they had employed a bunch of surgeons that were like basically had issues with their board certification in other states, so they move.
Oh.
And then they get hired, at places like this. So, you don't really know who your doctor is. There's no anesthesia for these major cases. There's no oversight. And, when you put all those things together, it's not shocking that people are having bad outcomes. I mean, plastic surgery is real surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be minimal risk, but when you start to cut corners by not having the proper training, not having the proper anesthesia, not having a facility that has any regulation or oversight, then suddenly surgeries that should be pretty routine can absolutely become dangerous or even deadly. And we've talked about this like week after week after week. It's sometimes sound like it's just like a broken record. That hey, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. This is dangerous.
Yeah.
And bad things keep happening, and nothing happens. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that something big would have to happen for things to change. Because what will happen is, people will talk about this. They're like, oh, well, you're infringing upon their business rights or whatever. Well, there's laws that state that I can't open up my own, private charter service
It'd be, like,
for planes if I'm a pilot, right?
I feel like it's just like if you open up a restaurant and you don't know anything about food.
Right. Or like food prep or like safety.
Yeah, but
or
see,
OSHA.
but I could see like if that pediatrician was just an investor with an actual plastic surgeon.
That would be one thing.
Then
that
would
wasn't the way
be
it started.
something that would make sense.
Yeah, that's not
because
how
he's just
this
like,
started.
oh, this is just going to be a good business.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't open up shop without an expert.
It happens all the time. I mean, it's happening here even in Dallas. I mean, a couple years ago, we were talking about an internal medicine doctor that was doing Brazilian buttless in their office, which is just no different than a pediatrician doing it.
Just going to Home Depot, getting some.
Well, what they do is they'll go do like a weekend
What
course.
was that stuff?
They'll go do
Cardi
like a
B?
weekend course or a week-long course on, how to do these surgeries with some, plastic surgeon with low scruples that thinks that teaching somebody for a week is enough to, make them a surgeon. I mean, it's shady and like,
You're not getting trained to like use Excel. You're getting trained.
You're right, exactly, like to do major surgery. I don't know. We'll keep talking about it, and
All you can do.
Hopefully, something will change. I mean, I just feel bad for the people that get sucked into it, and either die or have these like lifelong complications. Like that story. That if you're interested, you should go check out that Marie Claire article from 2022 because it was so long that I didn't even want to include like all this bad stuff that was. I was like, this is like
It's
a
just
dumpster
depressing.
fire. Yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm not even like go through each individual one. So
Yeah.
bad stuff. We'll keep talking about it though. Maybe someday.
Don't go get plastic surgery at a super weird franchise thing.
I know. Franchise plastic surgery sounds so bad.
It's like you're going to McDonald's to get plastic surgery.
I know. Mixed surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, mixed
That's a new
surgery. That's a
one.
good name for. I'm gonna open up my own plastic surgery chain and call it mixed surgery. It could be drive-through.
You get a Happy Meal after you could do it.
It could be drive-through too.
Yeah.
Drive-through plastic surgery.
Surgery in your car.
It's the new trend.